My ex-best friend tried to ruin my wedding, so I had to expose her secret. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. I held the bouquet and watched brown petals fall like excuses. It was June 17th, for 42 p.m. The rehearsal was late, and Sky, my ex-best friend, stood by the altar arch texting like a stage manager who wanted the show to bomb. I'm Maya, 29, a UX researcher with a spreadsheet heart, engaged to Ethan who thinks peace is cheaper than truth. We're 3 days from our vows. I can taste frosting and panic. Harper, our planner, whispered. The florist said the order was changed at 10:03 a.m. by you. She showed me the ticket on her iPad. The substitution, white peonies to rustic browns. A comment in the notes read, bride pivot, wants dried look. My name sat there like it had written the lie itself. I pulled my phone. At 9:11 a.m. I had texted Harper photos of blush peonies with the message, lock these. Screenshots saved. Time-stamped. iCloud backed up. I don't delete receipts. They are my vitamins. Sky drifted over, perfume sharp as a dare. Trendy. Dried wedding chic, she said, tapping a brown petal with a nail shaped like a threat. Sky and I used to be a two-person orbit. College roommates, shared passwords, the kind of friendship that memorizes each other's pharmacy brands. Then I got engaged, and the air thinned around her. Months ago, she joked to my mother that I liked Ethan's job title more than Ethan. He's a physiotherapist, steady, careful with people. I told myself jealousy is human and forgivable. I told myself a lot. Aunt Rosa caught my eye from the pews and mouthed. Breathe. I breathed. I also opened my notes app and typed a checklist. Florist mix-up, confirm vendor portal access logs, cross-check IPs with Harper. I am not dramatic. I am thorough. Through the stained glass, sun smeared the aisle like a decision. Let's reset the bouquets, Harper said, already dialing. Sky lifted her phone too, camera ready. Document everything, she smiled. I wondered who she was documenting it for. Ethan squeezed my hand. We can postpone, he murmured. Postpone means the rumor wins by default. Postpone means she does. I took one photo of the brown peonies, one of the order log, one selfie where my eyes looked steadier than I felt. Then the church door opened, and the first roomer walked in wearing my father's worried face. My dad never liked Sky. He said she smiled like a billboard, all shine and angles pointed at herself. We met freshman year at an ice machine that ate her quarter. I kicked it, and it spat frost and coins like applause. We compared hometowns, swapped phone cases, planned our lives in color-coded calendars, her brand ambassador dreams, my user research interviews. For a while we were oxygen. The fracture arrived in lowercase. A DM from a guy she liked asking if I wanted a drink sometime. I showed her, we laughed, and then our laughter curdled. She started auditing me. Who liked my posts? Why Ethan looked at me like a steady horizon. When Ethan proposed last December with a simple gold band, Sky cried harder than I did. She gripped my shoulders and whispered, don't disappear when you become a wife. I promised I wouldn't. She smiled like she didn't believe me. The fresh wound was March 4th. At my mother's birthday dinner, Sky raised a glass and said, to Maya, who will finally have a project to commit to. Everyone chuckled until the words sat there too long. Later she texted, you know I'm teasing, right? I screenshotted it and archived the thread. I tried to give her jobs that made her feel essential without handing her matches. She handled the welcome bags. She created the group chat. She insisted on liaising with vendors because she knew the language. I set boundaries. Payments only through Harper. No changes without written approval. Sky agreed. Heart emojis like white flags. But white flags can hide knives. At tonight's rehearsal, Dad's face carried smoke. He pulled me aside near the candles. A call came to the house line, he said. Anonymous. Said Ethan was entertaining a client at the clinic after hours. My father is old-school Cuban. Men protect, women decide. He watched me decide in real time whether to be small. It's noise, I told him. I trust Ethan. Dad nodded, but his eyes traveled to the brown bouquet. Sky filmed another behind the scenes, and I finally asked who the audience was. The first red flags looked like chores. On May 22nd, the tuck shop called to confirm Ethan's midnight blue jacket in a size that belonged to a different groom. The order change, they said, arrived from an email that matched mine except for one letter swapped with a lowercase l. The sender signed, just making it better. I asked for the email header. The return path was a free account routed through a Florida server. Harper flagged it as likely spoofing. 2 days later, the bakery rang to confirm a switch to carrot cake with walnuts. Ethan is allergic. I opened our signed contract. Lemon elderflower, paid April 12th via Harper's portal. Confirmation PDF in a folder called If They Gaslight Me. I forwarded it to the baker and CC'd Harper. She replied with a clean addendum and tightened vendor email rules. Then came the anonymous DMs. A new account with 0 posts sent a screenshot of Ethan hugging a woman outside the clinic at 7:58 p.m. I zoomed in. The woman was 82, Mrs. Patel, who brings Ethan tamarind candies. The angle looked shot from a car window. I blocked the account. It came back with a new handle, then another, each message more poisonous. Don't marry a liar, one read. People change vows, another whispered. I told myself weddings attract gremlins. I told myself it was noise. But noise becomes music when you hear it everywhere. At brunch, Sky clicked her tongue over avocado toast. Vendors are chaos, she said. Good thing you have me. She offered to audit our contracts on a Google Drive. I smiled, lied that everything lived with Harper offline, and felt my stomach settle like a shield. That afternoon, a white envelope arrived without a return address, and inside was a printout of our marriage license application with a post-it. Hope you disclosed everything. I held the form up to the kitchen light like it might confess. My legal name had the correct hyphen, my address current, no surprises. But the post-it glowed radioactive. It wasn't a mistake. It was a suggestion, a seed meant to root in my spine. Ethan found me there and kissed my forehead, asking if I wanted tea. I said yes and kept the envelope for fingerprints my heart couldn't take. I pressed the post-it flat and realized the handwriting looked disturbingly familiar. Escalation didn't knock, it forwarded. On June 2nd, Ethan's aunt forwarded a Facebook message claiming he'd been seen kissing a patient in the treatment room. The message came from an account named Truth Before Vows, with a profile photo of a borrowed sunset. My stomach froze. Ethan read it twice, jaw tight. There are cameras in the hallway, he said. Not in rooms, obviously, but timestamps exist. That same day, the venue emailed Harper. Our final installment hadn't arrived. The portal showed a chargeback request, initiated by the card on file. The card belonged to my dad. He swore he hadn't called the bank. Harper forwarded a recorded call log. A woman's voice, light and decisive, claimed to be me. She knew my last 4 digits. She also mispronounced my middle name. I called Sky. Did you change anything with vendors? I asked. She laughed. You're spiraling, babe. I can help. Send me your logins, and I'll audit the mess. I thought of the lowercase l in that spoofed email, of the walnuts, of the anonymous DMs that parked outside Ethan's clinic like a stakeout. No thanks, I said. Harper's got it. That night at the rehearsal dinner walkthrough, Sky hugged my mother so hard it looked like CPR. People are talking, she murmured just loud enough. Maybe do a small ceremony now and the real one later. My mother blinked, measuring me for resilience. Ethan squeezed my knee under the pew. A process server stepped into the aisle carrying an envelope like a blade sheath. Maya Alvarez? He asked. Everyone turned. He handed me a notice, a defamation warning, accusing me of spreading rumors about a Sky Rivers, owing $14,762 on a credit card she'd opened using a different address. The letter demanded I retract statements I hadn't made. The sender's attorney was real. The facts were fog. Sky pressed a hand to her chest. This is insane, she said. Maya, tell them you'd never. The return address matched her gym's co-working space, and the choreography clicked. The isolation arrived in polite phrases. Ethan's mother called to say she loved me and wondered if a quiet courthouse ceremony might be intimate and stress-free. My cousin texted, would postponing be so bad? Vendors can reschedule. Even the group chat began to feel like a hallway with doors closing softly. I could feel the pressure settle, warm and heavy, meant to lull me into surrender. Ethan tried to play diplomat. It's our day, he said, rubbing his thumb over my ring. But if you want to move it, I'll move mountains. He meant it, which only made me angrier at the person pushing us toward a cliff and calling it a picnic. Aunt Rosa arrived with empanadas and a scanner. If someone wants fog, give them light, she said. We laid out every contract. Florist, original peonies. Bakery, lemon elderflower. Venue, paid minus the bogus chargeback. Photographer, confirmed June 18th, 10 a.m., start. Church, rehearsal June 17th, 5 p.m. She labeled each file with the date and a 2-word summary. She also had me unlock the vendor portals and turn on 2-factor authentication across the board. Don't share codes, she said. Don't share feelings with people who weaponize them. I scrolled through Sky's Instagram. A story showed a photo of brown bouquets with the caption, "Rustic is Ian." The timestamp overlapped with the florist change. That night, I dreamed our aisle was a conveyor belt leading into a shredder. I woke up at 3:11 a.m. and wrote down everything I could think of knowing on paper beats whispers. In the morning, Aunt Rosa handed me coffee and a clear directive. Document, then decide. We don't fight vibes, we fight patterns. I opened the seating chart file Harper had sent for final approval, and 3 guests' names had been moved to the uninvited column with a note that said, "Per bride's request, volatile family." Harper swore she hadn't touched it and forwarded the edit log. The IP address was masked by a consumer VPN, but the browser string matched an iPhone on iOS 17 with Pacific time set manually. None of my family live out west. Sky once bragged about changing her phone's clock to maximize airline deals. A name in the uninvited column belonged to Ethan's immigration officer cousin. I stopped treating it like drama and started treating it like a system. Harper sent me the raw headers from the florist change request, an iCloud alias using my first and last name joined by a period, but the Y in Maya had a tiny accent mark that sometimes disappears in sans serif fonts. The return path pointed to a throwaway domain, but the originating IP mapped to a co-working hub I'd seen on Sky's stories, the one with neon wings on a brick wall. I wrote it down, 66. 249, 79. 23, 10:03 a.m., June 17th. The florist portal showed 2 logins, mine at 9:11 a.m. from my home network, then the Maya at 10:03 a.m. from the hub. Under customer notes, someone typed, "Bride wants dried, trend forward," and added 2 brown bouquet inspiration photos lifted from Sky's Pinterest board that I used to co-curate. My screen felt greasy. The seating chart edits showed the same browser signature that nudged Ethan's cousin to uninvited. I compared metadata on a dozen screenshots and found the millisecond rhythm of the same phone, edits arriving in clusters at 03 and 34 seconds past the minute. Sky times her posts, so the minute clock hits 34. She swears it games the algorithm. I heard her brag about it on a brunch reel while showing her manicure. Bar at 7:34, content at 8:34, emails at 10:34. Makes me feel lucky. Luck likes patterns. I dug for a motive beyond jealousy because jealousy is a spark, not a generator. Sky's last 3 brand deals were untagged hashtag ads with no FTC disclosure. Her travel looked expensive and strangely frequent for someone who recently pivoted to consulting. Aunt Rosa frowned at Sky's public Venmo. 3 $1 payments labeled test, all from different usernames within a minute. People launder attention, too, Aunt Rosa muttered. I was about to call the florist when Harper pinged. Duplicate contract at venue just surfaced signed Maya A. with a new email requesting a cash refund for overage. I blocked it. Need you here tomorrow. If someone was trying to drain our wedding by one little fix at a time, they underestimated my appetite for dots. I hovered over the florist email alias, clicked More Info, and watched an autofill avatar bloom. Then I saw the sender name, Maya, spelled exactly how Sky spells me. Breadcrumbs became bricks when people stopped whispering and started forwarding. The florist's manager, Alina, invited me to the back office at 9 a.m. and slid over her call log. On June 17th at 9:58 a.m., a woman identifying herself as me asked for a trend pivot, adding, "I'll confirm from the portal in 5." The caller ID was blocked, but Alina's system recorded the audio. The voice used my cadence, but not my vowels. She flattened the A in Alvarez exactly like Sky does when she wants to sound neutral. Alina offered to email the file. I said, "Please send it to Attorney Patel," and texted Patel first out of courtesy. He replied, I'll archive and notarize receipt of chain of custody. Next, I met the venue accountant. Harper had flagged the attempted chargeback and the cash refund request. The MyLA signature was a traced approximation of my license signature, and the new email for all billing ended with consults at iCloud.com. The body of the refund request included repeated phrases I'd seen in Sky's captions: low lift, elevate, iterative tweaks. I took photos with timestamps, then requested the portal's access history. The log showed a login on June 12th at 2:34 p.m. from a device labeled iPhone 14 Pro, Safari, using a two-factor code sent via SMS to a number that ended in 17. Sky changed her number last year. The new one ends in 17. I drove to the bakery. The owner, Mrs. Lin, pulled a spiral notebook. Someone called on May 24th, she said. Said the groom developed a nut tolerance and carrot cake with walnuts would be spicy cute. She laughed like TV. Harper's contract prevented changes without a written addendum. Still, Mrs. Lin wrote the time, 1:34 p.m. I checked my calendar. At 1:30 that day, I was in a Zoom with a London team. My screen recording showed me on camera. Ethan texted me a photo then, captioned, Mrs. Patel brought candy. Time anchored truth. Finally, I messaged the tuck shop for the full header from the spoofed email. It originated from the same co-working hub IP as the florist change. The alias used my name with a lowercase l in Maya Alvarez, where the uppercase I should be. It's the oldest trick, effective on frazzled eyes. I wasn't frazzled anymore. I was a metronome finding the beat. Alina's audio file hit my inbox, and when I pressed play, the air went still. The florist's archive call recording held a voice I knew too well. I didn't want it to be Sky until evidence made desire irrelevant. I trimmed the audio at the exact phrases where she always padded. Trend forward, low lift, chill vibe. Then overlaid a voice memo from her birthday last year where she blew candles and chirped. Manifest what you measure. The waveforms matched like teeth in a zipper. Aunt Rosa listened and didn't gloat. This isn't about bouquets, she said. Find the engine. The engine clicked on when the defamation warnings claim. About a Sky Rivers owing $14,762 on a credit card at an address she didn't live at. Collided with a fraud alert from my credit monitoring service. New inquiry. Department store card application denied. I hadn't applied. The attempted application used my maiden address crossed with Sky's gym co-working suite. I called the bank's fraud line. The rep, Candace, confirmed an online application submitted June 10th at 8:34 p.m. with the employer listed as Rivers Consulting, income inflated, and a photo of a driver's license where my face was correct, but the background color didn't match my state's current template. The fraudster had uploaded a PNG. The EXIF data showed edited, CapCut. My stomach did a slow turn. The fake identity wasn't random. It was wearing pieces of me like borrowed jewelry. If Sky had opened or tried to open lines in my name, the defamation letter was a preemptive strike. Muddy the water, accuse me first, make truth a tie she could spin into vibes. I asked Candace to send an affidavit and the IP logs to Attorney Patel. She agreed, adding, we see friends do this more than you'd think. I checked Sky's Venmo again. Hidden among emojis were payments labeled HR, V fee, Rush Doc, and one with a memo. You're a lifesaver before the 20th. Our wedding was on the 20th. A DM popped up from a block number. Call me. It read, signed Jules. Best man Jules had stayed neutral. He hates drama like he's allergic. I called. He whispered from a hallway. Sky hit me up for cash last month. $3,000. Said a brand delayed paying, and she'd be embarrassed if her landlord called your mom. I said no. She blocked me for a week. Why scorch my wedding to hide debt? Unless the audience she feared would be there. Ethan's cousin, the immigration officer, had just RSVP'd, yes, after months of maybe. Sky's stories had always skirted paperwork like it was a game, and suddenly the game had teeth. My ex-best friend was me on paper and drowning fast. I built the plan like a checklist with guardrails, not like a showdown. First, I compiled the receipts into a single drive folder. Florist audio, June 17th, 9:58 a.m. Venue portal access logs, June 12th, 2:34 p.m. SMS to 17. Bakery notebook page, May 24th, 1:34 p.m. Fraud affidavit from Candace, June 10th, 8:34 p.m. Venmo screenshots with timestamps, spoofed Tuck's email headers, and a screen recording of Sky's story from the co-working hub the morning of the bouquet switch. I added a timeline document with columns for action, source, time, who, impact, and exact words. Evidence breathes when it has context. Next, I called Attorney Patel. He spoke slowly, the way cautious people do to keep others from running. If this is identity fraud, don't confront alone, he said. Invite witnesses with stakes and neutrality. Request the vendor reconciliation under Harper's name so it isn't framed as your ambush. Ask the venue to project a screen. We'll stick to facts. No adjectives. I looped in Harper and asked her to schedule a vendor reconciliation and final walkthrough for June 18th at 5:30 p.m. in the venue's small conference room. She sent invites to the florist, bakery, venue accountant, and neutrally to Sky as former vendor liaison. I asked Aunt Rosa to sit in. I texted Ethan's cousin, "Would you be willing to be present as a family witness?" He replied with a thumbs up and, "End of day is fine." I wrestled with one thing, ethics. Do I stop the bleeding quietly or let sunlight disinfect? Ethan believes in clean exits. I believe in documented exits. I told him, if she were a stranger, I'd prosecute. Because she is Sky, I'm offering a door. He nodded and kissed my forehead, reminding me we were the point, not the problem. At 4 p.m., Sky texted me for the first time all day. Heard about the refund glitch. I can smooth it at the venue tonight. Or something not too bridal. Optics. She added a wink emoji that felt like lint under my eyelid. I took a shower and dressed like a witness, not a bride. I packed printed copies, a flash drive, and a small courage I'd been polishing since we met. Tomorrow, she would walk into a meeting built like a mirror. The venue's conference room smelled like filtered nerves. Harper lined up bottled waters as if they could swear, checked the HDMI twice, and nodded at me. Aunt Rosa sat with a legal pad, drawing boxes she'd fill when facts landed. At 5:28, Sky slipped in wearing cream silk and sunglasses like a tiara that hadn't been invited. "Vendor vibes," she said brightly. "I'll handle the refund thing. Don't spiral." Ethan squeezed my shoulder and sat across from her. Attorney Patel arrived at 5:30, introduced himself in a soft voice that hid steel, and asked Harper to confirm the purpose. Final walkthrough and reconciliation of any open items. Alina from the florist joined on Zoom. Mrs. Lin from the bakery placed a neat folder before her like a measured kindness. We began with the bouquet switch. Harper shared her screen. Florist portal at 9:11 a.m. My login. Then 10:03 a.m. Maya. Origin IP. A co-working hub. Public place, Sky said, stretching. Anyone could have hit that. Patel nodded. Which is why we also have an audio file. He pressed play. The room filled with Sky's voice performing mine, with her exact filler words, trend forward, low lift, chill vibe. Sky tilted. AI can clone anyone, she said coolly. Mrs. Lin opened her folder. Call May 24th, 1:34 p.m. Requesting carrot walnut, she read, placing the handwritten log on the table. We did not change the cake because your planner requires an addendum. Sky laughed lightly. Walnuts are out. Who would even? Patel clicked to the venue log. June 12th, 2:34 p.m. SMS authentication to a number ending in 17, he said. We can subpoena if needed. Today, we reconcile. He slid a copy of the cash refund request. The signature was my signature Sunday costume. That's absurd, Sky said. I would never forge. And the tux email? Jules asked from the doorway. Harper had invited him after he called me. Lowercase L for uppercase I, he said quietly. Eyes on Sky. Old trick you taught me. Sky's sunglasses finally clicked the table like a tiny gavel. Is this a trial or a walkthrough? She asked, sweat beading at her hairline under the room's honest light. Then Ethan's cousin walked in with a badge and a folder that wasn't decorative. We called it a vendor reconciliation. It became a mirror room. Ethan's cousin, Alex, set his folder down and spoke carefully. I'm here as family, he said, and to explain what public records look like when people play with identities. He glanced at Harper, who nodded. Patel gestured to the screen again. Let's keep this to verifiable items. Alex opened a sheet protector and removed a printout. DMV flag. Attempted duplicate license photo upload on June 10th, 8:36 p.m. Rejected, he said. Background color mismatch. Metadata shows CapCut. Address used. The co-working suite on Riverside Avenue. Sky stared straight ahead, jaw set. Lots of people use that space, she said evenly. You can't pin a community desk on me. Patel clicked to a slide with the bank fraud affidavit. Department store card application denied the same night, he said. Employer listed, Rivers Consulting. IP consistent with the co-working hub's consumer network. He didn't look at Sky. He looked at the facts as if they were shy birds. I laid out the Venmo screenshots. Rush Doc, V Fee. You're a lifesaver before the 20th. Jules folded his arms. You asked me for $3,000, he said, voice low. I didn't tell anyone because I thought you were embarrassed, not dangerous. Sky smiled too widely. Maya and I had an agreement, she said. I front vendors, she reimburses. She's behind. I've been covering for her. Harper held up both hands. All vendor payments ran through me. No third-party fronts. My books are clean. She turned her laptop so Sky could see the line items and bank confirmations. Alina, tinny through Zoom, added, and the voice on my call asked for dried brown, trend forward. I can send the raw wave if anyone doubts chain of custody. Mrs. Lin tapped her notebook. Dates are dates, she said simply. Patel took a breath. Sky, you can step outside with me to clarify, or we continue here. Sky's eyes flicked to me, then to Ethan. I wanted the best for you, she said, voice trembling now, performance cracking. You settle? He's fine. Ethan's face didn't move, but his hands closed into gentle fists on his knees. Sky reached for her phone, screen down, and a notification flashed anyway. Rent overdue. Final. Patel didn't chase the notification. He let it sit like an open window. Let's move to motive, he said. Envy is human. Fraud is a decision. Sky, there is an allegation you opened accounts in Maya's name or attempted to. Do you want to respond before we corroborate further? Sky straightened. I protected her, she said. Ethan is not who you think. I was trying to slow a mistake. She turned to Alex. Ask him about the client after hours. Alex lifted a page. A clinic hallway camera still, June 2nd, 7:58 p.m. Ethan hugging Mrs. Patel, 8:2, in a sorry bright, as a promise. Sky's jaw worked like a chewed pen cap. He could be hiding more, she said weakly. We're not here to try Ethan, Patel said. We're here to stop harm. He projected the co-working hub's Wi-Fi usage logs obtained by Harper's contact. 3 devices named Sky Mac, SkyPad, and iPhone connected during the florist change window. The florist call recording segment played again, then the waveforms beside a birthday video of Sky. You could see the likeness without needing software. You could feel it with your bones. Harper switched to the seating chart log. Manual edits uninvited 3 guests, including Officer Alex, she said. Pattern of interference focuses on paperwork or people who could verify paperwork. She clicked to a final slide. A screen recording of Sky's story from that morning, neon wings on brick and the caption, get it done by 10:34. The bouquet change landed at 10:03. Sky's mask finally cracked. Fine, she burst. I asked for help. Brands pay late. Life is expensive, and Maya owes me for years of free labor. You all act like she's perfect. She replaced me. I made her. Aunt Rose's pencil didn't move. You don't get to set fires and claim warmth, she said. Patel closed his folder. Here are our options, he said quietly. Private restitution and a notarized confession to withdraw fraudulent requests, or police report and civil action. Today. Sky looked at Ethan, then at me, eyes suddenly sharp again, feral. If you do this here, I'll tell everyone what you hid in college, she hissed. Paper cuts bleed a long time. My voice was steady when I answered because fear had run out of furniture to throw. I hid that I loved my life more when you weren't in it, I said, and that I stopped trusting you when jokes felt like bruises. The room stayed still enough to hear the projector's fan. Sky swallowed, calculating angles that no longer existed. Option A, Patel repeated, sliding a templated confession toward her. State that you impersonated Maya with vendors, attempted a chargeback and cash refund, and initiated a credit application using her identity. Agree to retract and repair by close of business. Sky snatched the paper, pen hovering. I won't admit identity fraud, she said. I'll say misunderstandings. Patel didn't blink. Then I'll dial the non-emergency line and we'll wait together. Alex nodded once. Ethan reached for my hand. Jules looked older. Sky signed. Her signature wobbled. She initialed each page. Patel notarized with a portable seal, then called the venue accountant to reverse flags and reinstate the final payment. Harper emailed the florist and bakery, appending the confession. Mrs. Lynn squeezed my shoulder, relief dough soft. Alina's Zoom mouth whispered, "We've got your peonies." For an hour, paperwork became a bomb rather than a weapon. Consequences began immediately. Sky's phone lit with rapid messages. Her landlord, a debt collector, someone saved as Vince. She ignored them, then finally snapped, "Fine, it's done," and stalked into the twilight. Jules exhaled. "I'm blocking her," he said simply. Ethan closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were wet and clear. The venue manager offered a smaller garden for our ceremony. Less spectacle, more control. We accepted. It meant fewer seats. It meant some friends would watch the live stream instead. It also meant the aisle would belong to us again. Back home, I messaged the wedding chat. "We're on for the 20th. Garden plan, see email." No adjectives. Aunt Rosa brewed chamomile and put her feet up like she'd done a shift in a truth factory. Ethan laid his head in my lap and whispered, "I'm sorry you had to become aluminum." I stroked his hair and watched the ceiling fan spin like a second hand. Then my phone buzzed with Sky's name and an unknown number. I let it ring once, twice, then let it go to voicemail. Her text landed seconds later. "You win, but you don't know everything." I archived it. I'm not a judge. I'm a bride trying to get married without a burning backdrop. The next morning, Harper sent a revised timeline. Ceremony in the garden at 5:30 p.m. Photos at 4:30. Mrs. Lynn delivering the correct cake at 3 o'clock. Alina's team bringing blush peonies at 2:15. I replied with a simple "received" and a small heart because gratitude can be quiet. Ethan and I went to the church alone. The sanctuary felt brighter now that the rumor smoke had thinned. We practiced our vows to the hum of an old fan. "I don't want our wedding to be about surviving Sky," he said. "Then let's make it about choosing us," I answered. We sat on the cool steps and wrote boundaries on paper like vows cousins. No shared logins ever. No friend liaisons. Evidence beats energy. When in doubt, slow down. When slowed, ask for help. Alex emailed. Sky had filed a mail forward for a week last month using my maiden address and the co-working suite. It was canceled today. "Documented," he wrote. Patel followed with a memo outlining a civil agreement. Sky to retract chargeback, withdraw refund request, send notices to vendors admitting impersonation, and enroll in a debt counselor. In exchange, we'd delay any criminal complaint unless she breached. A copy would sit in his drawer like a sleeping guard dog. We told a small circle the truth, not the gossip. My parents. Ethan's parents. Jules. Rosa. We didn't blast it online because I don't feed crowds I didn't invite. Still, news leaks like water through old grout. 2 bridesmaids texted cautious hearts. One apologized for believing the vibe over me. I responded with times and dates, not scolds. On the 20th, the garden hummed with cicadas and distant traffic. Peonies glowed like quiet moons. I held my father's arm, shook, then steadied. Ethan waited under a trellis wrapped in ribbon, not moving, patient as a lighthouse. Halfway down the aisle, a figure appeared at the gate in cream silk, breathless and pale. It was Sky. Harper moved like a goalkeeper, calm and quick. Alex stood, too, but Sky lifted both hands, empty. "I'm not here to ruin anything," she said. I signed. I sent retractions. "I'm moving out." She looked small, finally the size of her choices. She passed Harper a sealed envelope and, without stepping onto the grass, turned to me. "I was drowning," she said. "You were the shore, and I hated that you couldn't be the ocean." Harper checked the envelope in view of my parents, then nodded. Inside lay confirmation emails, screenshots of withdrawals, and a short note. "I'm sorry. I'll fix what I can. Don't contact me." No theater, just paperwork. Harper walked her back to the gate. Sky looked once at the aisle and left. The cicadas resumed like a soundboard unmuted. We married under the trellis with peonies soft as breath. Ethan's hands didn't shake. When he said, "I choose you, even when it's messy," he smiled like a promise you could set a shelf on. I cried. Not for Sky, not for the ruined rehearsals, but for the room we had cleared to build a life that could hold weather. We took photos in slanted light. Mrs. Lynn hugged us. Alina fixed a stray ribbon and whispered, "You did the right thing." After we rested, therapy begins next week. Me to unwind vigilance. Us to set maintenance schedules for marriage like oil changes. We changed passwords, enabled physical security keys, and wrote a playbook. Keep copies, verify senders, never outsource access, speak early when something scratches. I texted my younger cousin a summary. Dates and screenshots. I wrote, "Are love letters you send your future self." We added a small crisis kit to our binder, printed contracts, a contact tree, a rule that only Harper approves changes. If you're planning anything big, build your people like you build your budget, with limits and backups. Don't confuse access with intimacy. Don't confuse drama with proof. Keep sensitive documents off shared drives, lock two-factor, and put one calm person in charge of vendor communications. Teach your future self to thank you with relief, not regret.